A lot of big law attorneys I talk to are sitting on a mountain of cash that they don't know what to do with. And they've worked really hard at accumulating that money, but now they're paralyzed at the idea of deploying it towards their goals. The issue with this is that your money could be working a lot harder for you. Actually, in some situations, your money's actually working against you. For example, if you're earning 0.0001% in your savings account at the bank, and you could be earning 3% in a high-yield savings account, well, you're losing 3%. Or if your money is sitting in a high-yield savings account earning 3%, but you could be investing that money and earning maybe 7 or 8%, then again, you're losing 4 to 5% per year. If this is you, this is how I suggest you proceed so your money actually works for you, not against you. Hey guys, I'm Joel, your Big Law Money Guide. This is the type of issues that I discuss on this channel, so follow along if you want to make the most of your big law income. The first step is to get absolutely crystal clear on your goals. Are you trying to leave big law and pay off your student loans by then? Are you trying to be financially independent by age 50? Or maybe you're trying to move into a bigger house in a few years. Knowing that will help you determine where to allocate your cash. My recommendation is to map out your goals on a timeline like you see here on the screen. This will ensure that nothing creeps up on you at the last minute that you need to plan for. Again, if you want to leave big law one day and you know that paying off your student loans is what's going to give you that freedom, then you don't want to wait till you're burned out and ready to leave and still sitting on a pile of student loans. You want to start planning for that early. So having this timeline is going to help you be proactive and start planning early for those longer term goals. Once you're crystal clear on your goals, now you want to create buckets on each of those goals. And by buckets, I mean specific accounts that are dedicated for those goals. So how do you know which type of account to open? Well, here's a good rule of thumb. If your goal is less than 2 years away, I recommend that you keep that money in cash, like in a high-yield savings account or a money market account. So this could be a goal like buying a house or making big renovations or a big trip or a transition fund if you're looking to leave big law. The runway is just not long enough to take any type of risk like investing in the market. Now, if you have a runway of 2 or more years until that goal, then the conversation changes a little bit, because the theory is that the reason you don't want to invest money that is for short-term goals that less than 2 years is because if the market tanks when you actually need to access your money, then you're worse off than you were in the beginning. But the thing is the market, historically speaking, has always rebounded after crashing. And that rebound typically takes about 18 months on average, if you look at historical numbers. So if you have a window or a runway of 2 or more years, that means that if you experience a market crash in your accumulation period, it'll have time to recover so that you'd be in a better position than you were in the first place. So that's why I kind of use that rule of thumb. If it's less than 2 years, keep that money in cash. If it's more than 2 years, then you can take some risk and invest that money in the market. Now, if you have very specific goals, you'll need specific type of accounts for those goals. For example, if you want to send your kids to college one day and pay for it, you may want to utilize a 529 college savings plan. Or if you have a goal of paying off credit card debt, then you're going to want to apply large chunks back towards your credit cards. So again, specific goals sometimes need specific types of accounts as well. Once you have those buckets open, now you need to decide how much of your extra cash you're going to allocate towards each bucket. And what I would do is I would go back to that timeline you created and start prioritizing what's most important to you. Again, if your goal is to leave big law and you want your student loans paid off by then you may want to aggressively start paying back your loans. Or if your goal is to buy a house in the near future, then maybe that money is sitting exactly where it needs to be, in a high yield savings account. Now, if you have longer term goals like early financial independence or sending your kids to college, then you will need to invest that money so that it earns more growth than in a high yield savings account. And we'll talk about that next. The reason why I like the bucket strategy is because each account can have its own investment strategy and risk profile. For example, if your goal is to buy an investment property in 5 to 10 years, then you're going to want to invest that money because you have a long enough runway, like we talked about earlier. But you may want to invest that money a lot more conservatively than the money in your 401k that can be touched for another 30 years. That's why each goal should have its own account. Now, I'm not going to cover actual investment strategies in this video because that depends largely on your personal situation, your risk profile, and your investment philosophy, but I will discuss how to deploy a large pile of cash into the market. I would use a strategy called dollar cost averaging, or DCA. So instead of investing all of your cash all at once in the market, you invest small chunks over a period of time, like 3 months, 6 months, or 12 months. There are two reasons behind this strategy. Number one, you lower the average costs that you pay per share that you buy. So as you can see here on the screen, if you invested your money over the next 5 months, from January to May, and you invested $1,000 each month, in the first month, when the share cost is $50, you buy 20 shares. The next month, in February, when the cost is $40 per share, because the market fluctuates and the cost per share and the price of the stock varies, then you can buy 25 shares. You're still investing the same dollar amount, you're just getting more shares. You're buying things on sale. Same thing in March. Now you're buying 40 shares for the same investment. And then, when the stock goes back up, then you buy less shares. So the idea is when prices are lower, you're buying more shares. When prices are higher, you buy fewer shares. And this helps lower your average purchase cost over time, meaning you have more money in your pocket at the end of the day. And the second reason this strategy works is because it reduces the risk of you investing all of your cash all at once and then the market tanking the next day. So it takes a little bit of risk off the table. The key with dollar cost averaging is that everything is automated. You don't want to time your investments because what's going to happen is you're going to see a negative headline in the news and you're going to decide to wait, putting you right back in your position of having cash on the sideline and not working for you. If you work with a financial planner, they can do all of this for you. If you're a DIYer, there are different ETFs or mutual fund automatic investment tools that you can use to automate this process. Lastly, just make sure that while that money is sitting on the sideline waiting to get deployed into the market, it's at least earning some interest, like in a high yield savings account or in a money market account. Look guys, if you're sitting on a mountain of cash, the answer is not to rush into the market blindly. But it's also not to sit on the sideline forever because you're afraid of making the wrong move. The goal is to give each dollar a purpose. Some of that cash might need to stay safe in a high yield savings account because you need it soon. Or some of it might need to be deployed strategically in a specific type of account, like paying back your student loans or in a 529 for college. And some of that cash might need to be invested because it's for longer term goals. The key is to stop thinking of your cash as just a giant pile of money, but to think of it as a specific bucket tied to specific goals. That's when you move from being overwhelmed to having a clear plan. If you're a big law attorney and you're sitting on a mountain of cash and you're not sure how to deploy it, this is the type of stuff that I help my clients with every day. I'll help you map out your goals, create those buckets, and fill those buckets according to your priorities. You can schedule a free introduction call in the link in the description below. All right, guys, I'm Joel, your Big Law Money Guide. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.